Hello everyone. Today we are going to be talking about Arizona's language development approach. Arizona's language development approach serves English language learners, also known as ELs. ELs are defined as students who have not yet demonstrated sufficient English proficiency in speaking, listening, reading, and writing to succeed in a mainstream English instructional program. As of the 2023 school year, 103,318 ELs were enrolled in K-12 Arizona schools, making up 9.2% of the population. The 5 most common native languages spoken by these students were Spanish and Castilian, Arabic, Swahili, Navajo, and Vietnamese. Arizona public schools require a structured English immersion, or SEI, model for EL services. In this model, nearly all instruction is in English. SEI focuses on teaching language skills to students learning English through targeted instruction and integrated instruction. There are 3 research-based models that are approved for use under this approach: Newcomer, Pull-Out, and 2-Hour. Sheltered English instruction can be used as part of an SEI approach. In implementing sheltered English instruction, teachers use scaffolding and other teaching strategies like visual supports to make grade-level content instructed in English accessible and meaningful for EL students. ELs learn the same content and are held to the same high expectations, working alongside their non-EL peers in integrated instruction. Arizona's language development approach is split into 4 principles, each working towards a core goal of student agency. In Principle 1, Asset-Based Behaviors and Expectations, educators are called to recognize that students' language and culture are assets. Educators should support students' individual needs and strengths and create a safe and inclusive learning environment for all students. In Principle 2, Integrated Instruction in Disciplinary Language and Content, educators should integrate language development with grade-level content while differentiating instruction based on students' language proficiency levels using both the content standards and English language proficiency standards. Educators should support students by modeling and scaffolding. In Principle 3, Targeted and Explicit Language Instruction, educators are called to provide explicit language instruction that prepares students to use their language skills in academic settings. This helps students to develop strategies for independent language learning. In Principle 4, Assessment, Monitoring, and Feedback, educators are called to provide timely and meaningful feedback to EL students. Educators should also monitor student progress and use progress data to define effective instruction. Although nearly all instruction is in English, educators can still support and leverage students' home languages. Research shows that literacy skills developed in a student's home language help support English language development. Research also highlights the importance of purposeful grouping. In English language development small groups, students should be grouped by proficiency level to assure instruction fits the student's needs. Throughout the rest of the day, though, EL students should have opportunities to work with and learn from their peers, both EL and non-EL, in mixed ability groupings. Research also states that it is critical that educators maintain high expectations and grade-level content for ELs. With this, educators can provide scaffolding, such as visuals and graphic organizers, to make content more accessible. Explicit instruction is another key part of Arizona's language development approach that is supported by research. On average, research has found that explicit instruction is twice as effective as implicit approaches. Lastly, as for all students, progress monitoring, assessment, and feedback help both students and educators understand where to make improvements to reach success. When educators encourage student agency by using the 4 principles of Arizona's language development approach, students are empowered to take ownership of and responsibility for their own learning. This gives them confidence and a sense of voice as they begin to see themselves as capable of taking control of their own learning. As this confidence grows, students develop independence. On their own, they're able to respond to feedback, set goals, monitor their own progress, and adapt their learning strategies. One of the research-based SEI models is the newcomer model. Students in this model are newly enrolled in U.S. schools for the first time. These students receive 4 hours per day of EL services. In this 4-hour block, newcomer EL students are only grouped with other newcomer EL students. Within these 4 hours, 120 minutes is targeted instruction with ELs only, and another 120 minutes is integrated instruction with ELs only. In the second research-based model, the pull-out model, 60 minutes is designated for targeted instruction each day with ELs only, and another 60 minutes is designated for integrated instruction per day with both EL students and non-EL students. And then the remainder of the school day is taught in English. In the third research-based model, the 2-hour model, 120 minutes is designated for targeted instruction each day with ELs only. On top of this, at least one other content area is designated for integrated instruction with both ELs and non-EL students. The remainder of the day is also then taught in English. In the 50-50 dual language immersion model, which requires a bilingual parental waiver, 50% of the day is taught in English instruction. Within this half, 30 minutes is targeted instruction each day with EL students only, and another 90 minutes of integrated instruction per day. The remainder of the English half of instruction is then taught in English. The other half is 50% taught in the partner language. The eligibility process for EL services begins with identification through a home language survey. If any other language than English is marked as used in the home, the school is required to assess English proficiency. To assess English proficiency, schools must administer the Arizona English Language Learner Assessment Placement Test, or AZELA. If a student scores less than a proficient score on their most recent AZELA test, then they qualify for EL services. At the end of each school year, EL students are reassessed using the AZELA Spring Reassessment. If they score less than a proficient score, then they qualify for EL services the following school year. Students with proficient scores are then given a notice of reclassification. Reclassified fluent English proficient students are monitored for 2 years after their classification. The Universal Test Administration conditions outline accommodations that are available to all students taking the AZELA. These accommodations are small group, individual, or separate testing locations, flexible seating, a familiar qualified testing administrator, hearing supports and assistive technology, noise buffers and headphones, and repeated and clarified scripted directions. Schools must provide information about a student to their parents or guardians in a language that the parents and guardians can understand. Schools are also legally required to notify parents of a placement in a language instruction program. This is done through the Parent Notification and Consent Form, which is used to notify parents that their student has qualified for EL services. Parents have the right to refuse EL program services by submitting a parent request for student withdrawal form. Parents can also opt out of English-only instruction and request bilingual programs using a bilingual parental waiver request application. Even if parents refuse or opt out of EL services, parents and guardians cannot refuse AZELA placement or reassessment tests. Thank you for listening, and here are my references.